The best healthcare is there in ways big and small. There when we most and least expect it. We may not see it, but we feel it. It lets us know we're not in this alone. Everyone deserves a healthcare partner who never quits. One who's there for what matters. United Healthcare. There for what matters.
Hey, I'm Charlie. I really enjoy Ramsey County's Household Hazardous Waste program. They make it really accessible with their drop-off options, and they send out postcards every once in a while with helpful information. I drop off my household hazardous waste at the Bay West site. I like to let items in my home collect so I can bring a larger haul just a few times a year. I always tell people to check the website before they go. Chances are you haven't thought of all of the items that you can recycle, like batteries. When I recycle, I feel like I'm doing my part to minimize my carbon footprint, and it's easy and accessible to do so.
Everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Financially Fit Podcast. I am your host, Andre Creighton. I'm very excited to be here with you all today. You know, for those that have been reaching out and following our podcast, asking questions, giving suggestions on future episodes, I really appreciate you guys. As I mentioned on the last episode of the Financially Fit Podcast, we do have an IG now. So that is Financially Fit AC. This is a good place for you to go and interact with me, be able to ask questions, provide feedback, and then also just tell me what you want to hear on future episodes. I really think, this is a podcast that is, grassroots, built by, someone that comes from a very blue collar family background. So I really view this podcast as grassroots, and I want it to be built to help communities that are underrepresented become more financially stable and reach that financial freedom. So today's podcast is an interesting one. Today we're going to talk a little bit about philanthropy and whether or not philanthropy is perpetuating the same kind of systemic issues that are barriers to reaching generational wealth. Wow, that's a loaded one, I know. So to give you all a little background for those that may be new, I have been in the accounting world, finance world for over a decade. I've worked at some really prominent companies, from firms doing taxation to Cargill to a really big financial institution here in Minnesota. And I bring a wealth of seeing what a lot of people that wealthy individuals do with their money. Specifically, when I was working in the firms and working with a lot of high net worth individuals, I had the ability to see a lot of different things and a lot of different very wealthy individuals, not only tax strategies, but their wealth management strategies, how they utilize debt. I mean, the things that they're investing in, and while I am beholden to keeping very specific things around certain individuals, very private, I am not beholden to providing advice based on things that I've seen and then things that I've deployed and adopted within my own life. So, beyond that, I also now am a co-founder and the CFO of a tech startup here in Minneapolis. We've been live for almost 4 years now. So really kind of hitting the ground running and scaling and getting to that kind of maturity phase. And then on the other side of that, we also have the Turn Signal Foundation, which is more of our philanthropic arm that is focused on really those mission-driven items that we believe can improve the lives of many different communities across the country, particularly those in underrepresented communities. So, When I think about philanthropy, and I think a lot of people look at it through this lens, is philanthropy and nonprofits, they're solving real problems, right? Whether it's hunger, whether it's shelter, whether it's social justice issues, whether it is environmental issues, they're solving real problems. And you know, as I was kind of doing research on this and really just preparing for this episode, I came across some data that said that there in 2022 there are 1.5 million nonprofits in the US. 1.5 million organizations across the US that are doing nonprofit work. That is wonderful, right? That is what drives making communities better. My question to everyone is, does it have to be a nonprofit, right? Can you still do good and do well, right? Can you have something that is focused on making communities better, making the environment better, and it be a for-profit company? And the answer is yes, and I'll tell you why. So when we set on this journey to start Turn Signal, and we, on the heels of George Floyd and Lando Castile, individuals that tragically lost their lives due to law enforcement, we are really focused on figuring out not only how can we solve the problem, but how can we also be a part of building generational wealth within our communities. That's why when we started the platform, we allowed individuals that um, are from the community to invest in Turn Signal, individuals that likely wouldn't be able to invest in a startup or angel invest. That was something that was important to us because if we're successful, we know that also those investors on our cap table that come from underrepresented communities also are going to be successful because now they're going to have a little bit more money in their pockets than they probably do today. So all of that to say is that is my reasoning for why I believe that you don't have to just go the nonprofit way to solve a lot of issues. Let's take a step back and maybe think about this. So nonprofits typically, let's talk about how they get their money. Typically they get them from donor advised funds. They get them from high net worth individuals. Maybe they get them from other foundations that are large foundations that are deploying money to very worthy causes, right? Maybe they get corporate sponsorship from, the big large giants, the Cargills, the Ecolabs, the Wells Fargos, the US banks, whatever it may be. Those are typically the verticals that we're seeing um, nonprofits being able to create sustainability. I think the thing that's tough about that is that you can be doing a very, very good job to change the narrative and to create value within communities. But at the end of the day, you're beholden to someone else being able to provide you that funding year after year, right? I think about how typically in a nonprofit, you might have someone that's running it, maybe they're the executive director. And what they always say is that, executive directors should not make more than 10% of the funds that are coming into the organization, right? So if you're a small organization, that doesn't give you very much money as someone that's setting out on this journey to change the world, to create a sustainable living wage, right? Um, and in my opinion, that's a problem. And that is why my belief is that you can do good and do well. And that is why sometimes I believe that it's important to maybe think about, should this be a nonprofit? Can it be a for profit? How do I create revenue streams? How do I create an ability to make this sustainable from a for profit standpoint, right? Because what we know is that when you think about, the Zuckerbergs, the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs, right? Individuals that saw a problem and they went and they said, I'm gonna live in my mother's basement, or I'm gonna work out of my garage until I'm able to build this thing and make it sustainable, right? But the reality is those same individuals created a lot of value they saw in the problems they saw and solved, and they made a lot of money. Instead, also, once they made that money, they went back and said, okay, I'm going to deploy that funding into various uh, nonprofits. Maybe I'm going to start another business, right? The problem with that is, yes, do in high net worth individuals like that and give money to nonprofits because it's something that they deeply care about. 100%. I'm not going to sit here and say that one shoe fits all, right? There certainly are people out there with a great heart that are doing that, see a problem, that want to be able to utilize their money to really create value and make a difference. The other side of that spectrum is those same individuals also see the fact of, if I contribute to a nonprofit, I'm going to get tax break. Now, while there's all types of things around, how much money you're deploying and being phased out, we're not going to get into that today. But what we do know is that those individuals, while they may feel good about the cause and they want to make a difference, there also is some personal value in them being able to deploy that money to nonprofits and be able to keep as much money in their pockets because they're getting some tax breaks from those donations. So when I think about that, I think about, why not be a person that builds a nonprofit company? You want to solve a community issue? Why not make it a for-profit company? Why not drive value to yourself? Why not be able to make yourself the next millionaire, billionaire, whatever it may be? Because you know what? At some point, your nonprofit's going to sunset, and you're going to have done maybe 20, 30 years worth of good, right? And all you're going to have to fall back on is the fact that it made me feel good. I created extraordinary value for my community and made a lot of changes and left the world better than I received it. However, the question I have for you is, could you have made the world a better player and left a better place? Sorry, a better place, and created more value in your communities by you making this a for-profit company, you being the founder of that company, you owning X amount of money, X amount of ownership within that company, that then when you exited and you have solved said issue and it sells to some large giant and now you're a millionaire, billionaire, could you have created more value that way by being able to deploy more money into your community? So I always challenge individuals to think about, when it comes to philanthropy, do you want to be beholden to other individuals deciding how much money you get every single year, how you utilize that money, or do you want to be the founder of the next Apple or the next Google or the next whatever company, right? That's solving real issues that you see in the world, whether it's from systemic, social justice, environmental, uh, food security, health and wellness, whatever it may be. I challenge you to really think about, when you're deciding whether or not it's going to be a nonprofit or for profit, what is the quickest way for me to create value and to solve said problem and continue to build generational wealth to help change the dynamics that we continue to see, where a lot of people from very underrepresented social economic disadvantaged places um, continue to start these nonprofits, but not creating enough value for themselves to be able to actually deploy and make a difference within their communities. So, you know, wow, it's a lot. And I know that, there was some stumbling there because there was a lot that I want to get out in this, but I really, really want people to truly think about their abilities and their ability to create change, not only for the community, but for themselves, and what that can do for their communities. So, with that being said, I appreciate you guys hanging with me today. As I always say, the power is not in how much money you make, the power is in how much money you keep. I appreciate y'all. I look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of the Financially Fit podcast. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
It's not just another day in your life. Things are changing for the better. At Comcast, we see those changes, and we're thinking about how we use technology today to live, work, learn, and play. And we're building for the future now, so we're better prepared for the wants and needs of tomorrow. That's why Comcast is rolling out multi-gig internet speeds to more than 50 million homes and businesses before the end of 2025, making our already industry-leading network even faster, smarter, greener, and more reliable. Over the decades, Comcast has been your partner, working hard to serve your community, and will continue to be your partner. We're expanding our gigabits so you can enjoy the tiny bits that matter most.
You know Shaletta makes you laugh, but did you know Shaletta Brundage can also make you think and boost your business? Media personality, activist, and comedian Shaletta Brundage founded Shaletta Makes Me Laugh to celebrate and share the best of Black culture. It's a podcasting platform. You can download 10 weekly podcasts hosted by African-American subject experts at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com is also a production house, creating broadcast-quality commercial content. And Shaletta and her team of storytellers create powerful promotional campaigns to get businesses the brand awareness they're looking for. Some of Minnesota's top businesses trust Shaletta, and you can too. Get out the word about your events and products and get in front of communities of color with ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com. She's got the power to help your business.
Are you ready to get your COVID-19 vaccine but not sure you can afford it? In Minnesota, the healthcare system can help eligible adults get vaccinated, even people who are uninsured. If you're 19 or older and don't have health insurance, or don't have health insurance that covers vaccines, you can still get your vaccine. There are about 180 Minnesota clinics located all across the state that offer free or low-cost COVID-19 vaccines for adults who qualify. Most of those clinics also offer all the other vaccines that are routinely recommended for adults. There's no charge for vaccines that are given by a provider enrolled in the uninsured and underinsured adult vaccine program. There can be administrative and office visit fees. To find out if you qualify, start with a conversation. Ask a provider at your medical home. That's the place where you regularly receive health care. Tell them that you want to know more about the uninsured and underinsured adult vaccine program, and they can help you find a clinic near you that participates.
Are you a woman known as a good listener? Do you have skills in de-escalating situations? Are you what they call a people person? Then the Minneapolis Police Department would like to meet you. Now in a rebuilding phase, the Minneapolis Police Department is recruiting more women to wear the badge. The department offers career options for women with a high school diploma or GED. There are also opportunities for women with 2- and 4-year degrees who are ready to apply their skills in new ways. Police work makes a great second career for social workers, teachers, nurses. Women in their 30s and 40s are welcome to apply. There's no age cap. You'll be paid while you train and mentored by veteran women officers invested in your success. Minneapolis also welcomes current police officers to join the state's largest department. Make a difference on the streets, working in your community, in a career with competitive salaries and generous benefits. Go to minneapolismn.gov and search police jobs to find out more.
Are you getting older and feeling concerned about staying safely in your own home? Or maybe it's your folks you're worried about. I get it. It's not easy getting older, especially when the house is starting to show its age too. There is help available.
Individuals want to maintain and stay in their own homes for as long as they can. In Rebuilding Together Minnesota, we provide the opportunity, we provide the programs for them to do that.
Rebuilding Together Minnesota has been helping eligible older Minnesotans and those with disabilities stay safe and healthy for more than 20 years.
Our central AC unit was non-functional. We had plugged a portable unit in to the living room. What ended up happening was our electrical outlet melted, and it was getting to be 90 degrees in here. Meyer was told about Rebuilding Together Minnesota by his daughter.
She said, well, Daddy, you need to sign up. I said, do I qualify? She said, well, you're a disabled veteran, you qualify.
So we provided a new air conditioning unit for the homeowner and also new electrical service, all through this veterans program that we have.
Thanks to Tom and Rebuilding Together Minnesota, we're able to maybe go out and get a hamburger every now and then.
To find out if you qualify, go to rtmn.org. That's RTMN for Rebuilding Together Minnesota. Or if it's easier, call 651-776-4273 and tell your friends. Trust me, this is news they can use.
If you live in an older home, it may contain lead-based paint on walls, woodwork, and windows. Even more bad news, lead exposure can be dangerous to young children and impact their brain development. And now, the good news. Hennepin County will fix lead hazards in your home at no cost to you.
We were worried because of the paint in the windows in the bedroom. They were peeling and chipping, and we know that when paint peels and chips and it looks a certain way, that's possibly lead. We were worried for our children more so than anything.
Eligible homes can qualify for up to $15,000 in upgrades. You may even qualify for new energy-efficient windows. Don't worry, Hennepin County has a trusted list of pre-approved contractors. You won't even have to find companies with correct licenses or certifications.
I've just done a test and it's positive. So we know that this is lead-based paint, and then we know it's a hazard because it's creating dust every time this window moves and opens. And if you look in here, that's just full of lead paint chips.
You won't have to stay with your cousin while you're getting the lead out. Hennepin County even pays for you and your family to stay in a hotel while the work is underway. The last good news is how easy it is to apply. Just go to hennepin.us/lead control to get started.
I'm really happy with the program. We can go to bed knowing that our children are safe.
That's hennepin.us/lead control. Tell your friends about it.